So what do you believe? What's the reality you've created?
I believe what's here right now.
All right, if I go up and hit him, what would you say to me? What's your reality? What would you say to me if I go up and hit him?
Well, I wouldn't be very happy about that, but I'd probably wonder why at first.
Is it wrong for me to hit him, or is it okay? What's your reality?
I have no context, but the context I have now, which is nothing, I would assume it was wrong.
Sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, you were kind of criticizing that part of the whole, like, you're determined a bad person because you did something kind of in your life. Now, you said God made people in his image. Why would he make hateful people that inevitably end up in, theoretically, eternal hell? Why would he...
First of all, I wasn't criticizing it. There was a juxtaposition between this is what it teaches and this is what the Christian faith teaches.
That was my misunderstanding.
No, it's totally fine. I'm glad you brought this issue up, because in the Christian faith, your bad deeds can follow you if you just keep living in sin, making poor decisions, but you're never too late to turn and accept Christ, just like the thief on the cross, and Christ turns to him and says, today you will be with me in paradise, because it's based off of grace versus I got to do all of this white knuckle it on my own and somehow I'll get to heaven. God did not create those people evil or bad. Every single person has a free will. They decided to turn away from the goodness that comes from God and chart their life according to evil or their own pride.
Now, that would be based in the ideal situation where everybody is born with an opportunity to better themselves. Now, what about those who are born in very unfortunate situations and they never are exposed to anything like that and they don't know anything other than that? And so they carry out their lives and eventually die. Do they deserve eternal suffering?
Absolutely not. When it comes to you're born into certain situations where, let's say certain places in Detroit, tremendous crime and poverty, that person who accepts Christ, you could say in terms of living ethically, is going to still start out on level 2 of a ladder which has 10 rungs, versus someone here who has perhaps grown up as a pastor's kid. I would probably start off at a level, say 5, because I was born into this kind of family. That makes perfect sense. And that connects exactly to the gospel, because in no way am I better than this person. We both have accepted Christ. This person will take longer to grow ethically, but we're still viewed in the same kind of way in God's eyes.
I'm just asking those who live their lives completely ignorant to the idea of Christ.
Yes. Okay, that's been the number one question on this campus this week. Ignorance of Christ. Absolutely. But the Bible speaks to it beautifully. He'll flesh it out. I'll just give you the 3 I've been giving. One is Romans chapter 2. Based off of the knowledge that we have, it's general and special. General knowledge being our conscience. We know we have a conscience that determines right and wrong. That is not just personal or given by society. Secondly, it's nature. We see the order and design in nature, the beauty of it. That pushes us to some kind of creator. It just didn't pop up by accident. So that's Romans. Then you go to Hebrews 11, the patriarchs, Abraham, Moses. They are going to be in heaven. They never heard of Jesus' name. They're going to be in heaven. And then the final one, fall back on the character of Christ. No one is going to get ripped off. He was the one reaching across cultural boundaries, racial boundaries, gender boundaries, ageism boundaries. He was the only one going for kids. Everybody thought kids were just a tax on society. He's the one who says, today you'll be with me in paradise, to a thief, a criminal, a murderer. That's the kind of character and love he has, marked by forgiveness. I would lean on that character at the end of the day, rather than one that says, no, you know what, your karmic path, or from a Muslim perspective, if your heart's not lighter than a feather, you're not entering paradise. That's a terrifying perspective to me, because you never know if you truly will have eternal life or not.
It's a great answer. Thanks for raising that issue. What do you think about Jesus Christ?
Personally, I was born Catholic, but I am no longer anymore.
Okay, why?
I don't align with anything. I choose to see what's in front of me, see what I can understand, talk with other people, see what they understand, their views, and I kind of like to kind of mold a reality that is representative of the world I live in today.
Good.
Because I feel
What
like
is the
that's
object
where-
that's more reliable than your Catholicism? You were Catholic, you turned away. So what is the object of your faith that is more reliable than Jesus Christ?
more reliable in what sense?
In the sense that you realized Jesus Christ doesn't cut it. So I'm going to leave Christ, and I'm going to go a more truthful, more reliable way.
The idea of Christ wasn't satisfying enough for my life. It wasn't I think this is lesser, so I choose to reject it. I choose to see all views and just see them as they are and create my own reality based on that.
Okay, so what do you believe? What's the reality you've created?
I believe what's here right now.
All right, if I go up and hit him, what would you say to me? What's your reality? What would you say to me if I go up and hit him?
Well, I wouldn't be very happy about that, but I'd probably wonder why at first.
Is it wrong for me to hit him, or is it okay? What's your reality?
I have no context, but the context I have now is just nothing. I would assume it was wrong.
Okay. Why is it wrong? Who says it's wrong? You. Why are you right? I mean, why is it wrong for me to attack him?
Innate morals?
Innate morals. Very good. I happen to agree with you. Innate morals. Where do those innate morals come from? Innate morals. Where do they come from?
Probably the evolutionary factor that made us a more social race, probably favored qualities in people that want to help other people in their society.
So if I have an innate drive...
So, we're a social species, right? It wouldn't be beneficial to the species as a whole if you were to go up and punch him, especially for you, because then you would be ostracized because everybody would be like, what the hell is wrong with this guy?
Okay.
And so it's just non-ideal for you to punch him. And that's just something that's evolved into what we think is innate morals, but it's really an intricate system that evolved over time, from my understanding of it, my limited studies in psychology.
So you really think that I'm not going to punch him because I want the evolutionary cycle to progress, and I want to promote this cycle, this upward mobility of evolution, so therefore I'm not going to punch him. That's the reason?
It's really hard to say.
It is hard to
I
say.
didn't mention everything, and that's why, psychology is such a fruitful field right now, is because we've seen the validity in it, and it's growing, though it's very new. And so, it seems really ridiculous to just say, like, oh, it's because you're mortals, because that's the only concept we have available right now. But as we more and more study human psychology and why we act certain ways, not only can that help you, control the way you act, such as punching somebody. Obviously, you wouldn't want to do that, but it lets us solve more complicated issues of why people act the way they do.
Sir, are you just a bag of chemicals, or do you have a soul? Is there a person, you, or are you just a complex chemical reaction?
I can't say. Because I don't understand.
I am convinced from my experience and observation of life that if you hit him and tell me I had to because my chemical reactions in my brain program me to hit him, I would say to you, no sir, you're lying to yourself and to me. Yes, they're chemical reactions, no question about that. The material is real, but there is a you that I'm going to hold responsible for denigrating him. That is based on an understanding that there's more to reality than simply the chemicals, the material. You and I are human beings with a free will, with the ability to love or to hate. You and I have a conscience, which means we can choose to do that which is right or that which is wrong. We have an innate moral compass. We can sear that conscience like the Nazis taught their soldiers by having the soldiers break puppies' necks. You keep breaking your puppies' necks and you eventually sear your conscience. So, Jesus Christ said, you and I and him, we've all sinned. We've all done that which we know is wrong. And we need forgiveness. And I don't think that you made a wise decision when you moved out of your Catholicism into La La Land, which is, I created all by myself. That's not wise, because you're not that reliable. The evidence is Jesus Christ is more reliable than that.
So, here's the difference. I never said it was only chemical reactions. That's just what we're able to study and understand with what we have available right now. Now, I'm acknowledging there might be something more to that, but the difference is I'm not saying it's one certain thing, one idea that I just came up with and said, oh, I think this fits, this hole that is missing in our understanding of a certain thing. So I'm just going to say it's God or Jesus or, whatever you want to say. And that's perfectly fine, but I'm just trying to let you understand where I'm coming from. And I don't feel like I have the ability to say for certain what exactly is the reason for everything. I'm just going based on my current understanding.
Why did you leave the Catholic faith?
Why
did you leave the Catholic faith?
Because I realized this. Because I realized that if I'm not sure about something, I shouldn't fill in a substitute and then tell everybody to follow that accordingly.
So Catholics taught you to go around and tell everybody about Catholicism?
Yes.
No, they didn't teach you that. Come on. You know the Catholic Church doesn't teach Catholics to go around telling everybody.
How do you know that?
Because I am a minister in a town with a Catholic priest. He's a good friend of mine. I got many Catholic priests who are friends. And I know that my Catholic priests do not teach the people in their church. You got to go around telling people. You got to go around speaking on a street corner. They don't do that.
I accepted
the Jesuits don't do that even.
I am saying I accepted my current ignorance.
Yes.
My ignorance of the understanding of humanity as a whole, the world as a whole. I accepted that and said, hey, I don't know what it is, but I'll try to figure it out with what I'm given. Rather than say, I don't know what it is, but I think it might be this. So I'm going to spread that.
Why did you leave the Catholic faith?
I chose to, like I was talking about, I accepted my ignorance of, my understanding of the entire universe, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
And instead of pinning that on something, I decided to fill in with, whatever I thought. I'd rather study what's real and what we can test and just really try to understand people for who they are, not where they come from and what religion they grew up in.
Well, what do you think Jesus did? Jesus accepted all people. Jesus attacked racism. Jesus insisted all people have equal value and dignity because they're all created in the image of God. Jesus taught that he commands his followers, love your enemy, love everybody. So where on earth are you getting off telling me the reason you left Christianity was because...
You don't need to make me sound ridiculous.
I'm not attacking you. You're expressing yourself. I'm expressing myself. We have a disagreement. So we communicate why we disagree. Sure, that's called a liberal arts education. That's what that's called. We respect each other. We disagree. Now we better kick it into gear and explain why we disagree. And so I'm asking you, what's the object that you moved to from Christ because this object was better than Christ?
I accepted my ignorance. I didn't want to follow something I was indoctrinated into. And so I wanted to make my own understanding of the world.
Good. Then have you on your own read the Gospels and examined the evidence that points to Christ? Instead of going the Catholic way, are you willing to read the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the historical record of Christ, and with an open mind, ask yourself, does the evidence point to Jesus being reliable or not? Are you open to that?
Sure. Yeah. Maybe Jesus was real. Maybe Christianity is a thing. Maybe heaven and hell exist. I'm not throwing that out the window. I'm just saying I don't want to just accept things because I was told that as a kid. That's it.
So, I am challenging you guys. Ask yourself, what am I living for? And what's the evidence that what I am living for is true? So you tell me, and I didn't make this up, you told me I used to be Catholic and then I moved away from that. Fine, no problem. Now I want to know why you moved away from Catholicism and what's the option to Jesus Christ that you found to be more reliable, more trustworthy, more true. And that's why I asked you the questions I did. I'm not minimizing you. I'm saying, come on, sir, step to the plate, explain yourself, what you're thinking. That's all I'm doing.
I agree.
Okay?
That's what it is.
All right, man. Good to meet you. question.
Two.
Somebody else have a question they want to raise.
So how do you justify the existence of natural disasters or like things like COVID? Like, obviously, if evil comes from the brokenness of humanity, like free will, right? If I hurt you and stab you, the evil came from me choosing to do evil.
Yep.
But suffering that's caused by just the world being broken, how can a loving God allow that to happen?
Okay, great question, hard question. How can a loving God allow this world to be so broken, so messed up? Ultimately, I do not know. But when you read the Bible, you begin to understand. In Genesis 3, when human beings rebelled against God, the train got off the track. The arrow missed the mark. And curses follow. Chaos follows. Injustice follows. The breakdown of life follows. Death follows and fills the gap. So you and I are born into a world that initially was good, created by God. But then due to human beings telling God, take a hike, God honors their free will, steps back, and all chaos erupts. That's the kind of world we're born in. Tremendous beauty, tremendous ugliness, incredible life, sick death, amazing health, warped diseases. Now, what you guys got to work through is why? Why is there so much beauty and ugliness? Why is there so much life and death? What is a worldview that adequately explains your experience of life? And I'm standing here saying to you that there is no more accurate, better worldview than what Jesus Christ communicated and what the Bible communicates. And my experience backs that up. And I'm convinced that Jesus Christ was spot on when he pointed out all of us are capable of doing tremendous good, and all of us are capable of doing tremendous evil. I mean, I cannot believe that on a campus as fine as University of Texas, there's racism, sexism, date rape, hatred, cheating, lying. What's going on? Why that? Because we got a problem, guys. It's called sin. Yeah. A free decision to do wrong in spite of the fact that I know what's right. And that's why I've lived. Too often I've known what's right, and instead of doing that right, I did the opposite. I am a sinner. And that's why Jesus Christ bled and died on a cross, to pay the penalty for my sin, to forgive me for the wrong that I have freely chosen to do. And the reason that I trust him is because 3 days after he died, he rose from the dead. Gosh, I promise you, sir, if you die and rise from the dead, I will listen very carefully to absolutely everything you have to say. Stuart, what are your thoughts?
Genesis chapter 6, the great flood. God's judgment of people. We get, though, that God was greatly grieved. He wasn't just this callous creator who said, you know what? These people aren't obeying me. I'm just going to judge them. I'm going to strike them dead. The reverberation of our sin absolutely was at a cosmic, sociological, and psychological level. That was clear. When I have some friends say to me, look at 9/11. We just had the 20-year memorial. Clearly 9/11 is a depiction of God judging New York City. God judging America. Do you think that's fair? Think it's accurate?
No, of course not.
There you go. Good. Very good. Good thinking.
I don't believe that's clear. I don't think we should ever draw a direct one-to-one correlation between, yes, there's sin in cities. In Austin, Texas, in New York City, in San Diego, San Francisco, wherever it might be, there's absolutely loads and loads of sin, of crime, of horrible things going on. God may judge in certain ways. We are not sure. God does not judge, though, in the same way that he used to in the Old Testament. In the Old Testament, it was for an ancient Near Eastern culture in a way where he was making a light for the Jews, making a way for them to reach the Gentiles, to reach the entire world. And by doing so, he was not taking part of ethnocentrism. He was not saying the Jews are better than everybody else. No, he was simply using the Jews simply because he was using them. There was no particular reason. They were not better people. And we see that throughout the Old Testament. They kept failing, and God would judge them in certain ways. But then in the New Testament, you have Jesus coming, a new covenant. And by that, I certainly believe that there is still discipline, but there is not this same form of judgment that you have in the Old Testament.
I've got no argument for what you believe your eternal being is made for. Mine are made of energy.
Okay? The reason that Albert Einstein introduced the fudge factor to disprove the Big Bang is because Einstein was a pantheist. And all of a sudden, the evidence of the Big Bang pointed to the universe is not eternal. The universe has a beginning. And Albert Einstein did not like that. So he made an intentional mathematical error to try and disprove the Big Bang. Some other mathematicians discovered it. They confronted him, and he said, "You're right. I intentionally did that. I'm sorry, I was wrong." Question is why? Why did Einstein do that? Because he was committed to his pantheism, that everything is God. And he understood that if there is a Big Bang, it means there's a beginning of the universe. Guess what, guys? Everything that has a beginning has a cause. The universe has a beginning, therefore the universe has a cause. And Einstein understood, if there's a beginning to the universe, there's got to be some type of God. Not Jesus Christ, obviously, but some type of God. And Einstein did not want to move from pantheism to theism. But I'm very grateful that he was intellectually honest enough that when his mathematician friends pointed out, "You're dishonest, Albert," he said, "You're right," and he changed and he became a theist. I respect that kind of intellectual honesty. Now, why are you believing that gods exist simply because you believe they exist?
Because we have no proof one way or the other. And we have no proof they exist just because they exist. They've got to come from something.
Ma'am.
Nothing comes from nothing.
Good. Nothing comes from nothing. Very good. You never get something coming from nothing. We agree totally.
So if your God is eternal, where did he come from?
Right. He obviously didn't come from anywhere because, as you said, he's eternal. He doesn't have a beginning. We didn't say everything has a cause. We said everything that has a beginning has a cause. So an eternal God does not have a cause because the eternal God does not have a beginning. Make sense?
Nothing comes from nothing, and everything with a beginning has a cause are two different statements.
Yes, I agree. Different points. Correct. That's right.
Just
You're right.
because you believe he's eternal, he doesn't. Eternal doesn't even mean that there's no beginning. It just means there's no end.
Okay. Good point. And I have a beginning, but Jesus Christ has given me eternal life, which means unending. But you're right, I have not always existed throughout eternity. So good distinction. But clearly, the Bible communicates God has no beginning and no end. He's eternal in that he doesn't come from someone or something, and he's not going to end sometime. He has eternity behind him, eternity in front of him. He's eternal.
And you're comfortable believing there's something that has always existed, even when time itself didn't exist.
You have to. You have to answer the question, what was around in the beginning? You have no choice. And you're either going to tell me matter and energy are eternal, or else you're going to tell me the gods or God or whatever spiritual being you're referring to is eternal. You have no option.
I mean, I don't know about matter, but energy's eternal. That's kind of like a whole physics principle.
Before the Big Bang, no matter, no energy. And then there's a Big Bang, which means there's got to be a cause.
I don't think we have enough information about the Big Bang or the things before it to know for certain that there was nothing before it.
All right.
Because as you said, science is limited, so we don't know all the information.
You make a good point. But at this point, on October 1st, 2021, the evidence of astronomy is, before the Big Bang, there was nothing. Could change. You're absolutely right. In fact, we could discover the Big Bang never happened. Okay, obviously. Okay, science is a continuing process of getting in touch with reality. Okay, but at this point, one of the reasons that I believe God exists is because there was a beginning. And so then the question is, what's the most reasonable answer to the question, who or what is eternal? And I think it's obvious. The best answer to that is a personal being, God, created the heavens and the earth.
Does there have to be something that's eternal?
Yeah, there does. Okay, now what do you think about Jesus Christ? You've told us, you believe there are many gods, and I asked you why, you say, because I believe. Okay, so what do you believe about Jesus Christ?
Don't know a lot about the dude.
All right. Would you be open to reading the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John and just checking him out as an historical person?
I'm barely keeping up with my homework, dude. I don't have time for your side project.
Alrighty. In light of the fact that you and I are both going to die, in light of the fact that he died and rose from the dead, in light of the fact that he says, if you believe in me, you'll have eternal life, what's more important than checking out Jesus?
Living.
And he says, this is the best way to live and to enjoy life, to live out the order that God created you to enjoy. So you don't have to worry that Jesus is going to be negative on your living. Instead, he communicates that he will give you real life, abundant life is what he called it, real flourishing life.
You need a higher power to validate your good behavior.
No.
It's honestly kind of less respectable than people who find the will to be good people just because it's good, it's love. And like God is essentially love, and that's what I respect about Christianity, because God is love. But he's not this whole creation story. He's not this whole thing. He's not the judgment book. He's not a judge. He's
Well, then
not,
who is God? You said he's love.
I'm not saying he's, but I'm not trying to even put it into like a human term. Like it's not. It's like it. It's like energy.
Okay, how does energy love? Do you have a loving relationship with electricity?
Energy is love.
Energy is love. Is electricity love? Is nuclear power love?
No, the energy.
Well, then what are you talking about? What do you mean?
How do you explain God?
Very simple. God is a personal being, not an it. God is not electricity. God is a personal being who has a mind, who created us.
Making it a personal being turns him human. And
No.
humanity isn't divine.
He's a spiritual being. He's not a human.
Okay, so how do you define spiritual being?
Good.
Is that not energy? Is that not karmic energy like in the world?
No, it's not electricity.
Okay, so I didn't say electricity, I said energy.
What do you mean energy?
Like, okay, so you just...
Life? Life?
Life is energy. It's
Good.
a form of energy.
God is a living being. Absolutely correct. God is a living being. In that sense, God is very energetic. No question about it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but like, it's not like he is someone you can form a relationship. Like, I'm
Well, how
not
do you
gonna
know that? How do you know you can't have a relationship with God?
But that's my truth. I can't have.
Is it possible that your truth is wrong? Is it possible my truth is wrong?
That's what makes it a belief, and that's why I'm saying this whole thing is a belief, and you like trying to convince people that it's like a truth is kind of going past the obvious explanation that it is just a belief.
Oh,
and it's your
I am so
truth,
sorry.
my truth.
I thought we were on a university campus that is committed to the liberal arts education, which is based on the idea that we all have different philosophies, different beliefs, and what an education is a free exchange of ideas where we begin to challenge each other and ask each other, what's the evidence that what you believe is true?
So you're doing
That's
this-
where I thought we were, at a university. I didn't know we were at a place that says, it doesn't matter what you believe, because everything is true. I thought we were at a place where a professor said, that answer's wrong. And if you don't learn to study and get in touch with reality, truth, you're going to flunk out of this place. I am so sorry I'm under this misconception that we're in a university where a liberal arts education, the free exchange of ideas, the questioning and challenging each other, what do you believe and why do you believe it? I thought that's what this place was all about. I'm so sorry for my
I think
misunderstanding.
you're going too far because she came up here respectfully and asked and had a normal conversation with you.
No, I think.
Yeah, and I'm respecting her and answering exactly what she's raising, and I'll listen to you and answer you exactly what you raise.
So just
And that's
to
called
make it-
intellectual respect.
Just to make it here, you're here, like, just to make it clear, you're here on behalf of UT, as if this is an educational
No, I've been
exchange.
invited here by Chi Alpha Christian Fellowship, a group of UT students. I've been invited here by that group to speak here, to dialogue.
Okay, so you were invited.
Yes.
You're not just here like a random crazy person, like, just preaching for no
Well,
reason.
I have great respect for random people who come and talk. That's their right. We have free speech in this country, guys. All right? So there's nothing wrong. It's not me.
But you're on a schedule, is what I'm just trying to say.
Yeah, I got a flight to New York City tomorrow morning at 8:26. That's correct. I'm on a schedule.
Right. Wonderful.
Now, why don't you believe in Jesus Christ?
I just... You mean like the human form of God?
Yeah, he claimed to be God in human form. So why don't you believe in Jesus?
It's just not scientifically feasible enough for me to put all my faith and follow and like go to church for it. It's not my belief. It's not true to me.
Why?
I was raised up Catholic, went to Catholic private school, and it wasn't
Right.
until I went to that private school that I realized it was all bull in my eyes.
What's your
Because
evidence?
it's based on a story that has no scientific truth. It doesn't reach me at a level where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like perfect, like this is it. It's just personally not connecting.
Okay, fine. Scientifically, prove to me that George Washington was the first president of the United States. Can you do that? Scientifically.
I mean, this has to be some type of fallacy because he wrote accounts. Did Jesus actually write anything down?
No, I don't believe George Washington was first president of the United States because a dude named George Washington wrote something. Eyewitnesses saw George, and they wrote down what they saw. Eyewitness
He
testimony.
wrote stuff.
Yeah, he wrote stuff, yes.
Did Jesus? Sorry.
No, Jesus did not write anything. The eyewitnesses who saw him wrote what they saw. Jesus spoke. Those who heard him wrote down what he spoke.
Like about 2,000 years later, it was an eyewitness.
No, yes, it was. We have Greek manuscripts, ma'am, from the early 2nd century that clearly point to the fact that we have an accurate account of what Jesus said in the 1st century.
So what's wrong with other people's religions' truths that have real accounts of it? Like Judaism.
Yeah, what about it?
So why are you different from Judaism? Why are you different from Hindu? Like,
Right.
why are there different? That's what's separating people. You trying to force people into certain beliefs is what's separating.
Not you trying to steal her bag and think it's a moral compass and alienation and isolation.
I mean, I know you're not forcing anyone. You're just
Thank
trying to
you.
spread.
That was incredibly judgmental for you to say that. I'm glad you caught yourself on that one.
But why, like, does anyone else from other faiths, like, do this? Like, the fact that it's always Christians is kind of, like, it's kind of a red flag, and I think it just kind of puts you guys...
You got to be kidding me.
It's true.
You don't
I
think
think everyone
Muslims spread their belief?
I mean,
You
like,
don't think
yelling
Muslims
to kids on this
spread their
campus,
belief?
yelling to kids on this campus.
You don't think
no.
atheists spread their belief?
Yelling to people on this campus? No.
I can
And this
promise
is in
you,
this environment.
I can promise you there are atheists who spread their faith very effectively at UT Austin.
Who's seen atheists yelling at people here?
There is no other faith on Speedway besides Christianity.
Okay, well then why don't you stand up and talk about
Because
Hinduism?
I don't feel the need to.
Yeah, she got her truth figured out. She
I'm
doesn't
good.
care if other people
I'm good.
see her truth or not.
Yeah.
Because she knows she's being the best person she
All
can
right,
be.
well then it's real simple.
And it doesn't come down to a faith.
Ma'am, if you suddenly have a seizure, I'm not just going to stand here and say, oh, too bad, you got a seizure. I'm going to call 911. I'm going to get the best doctor to try and heal you.
That's good.
Not only am I going to do that, but if I'm convinced that Jesus Christ offers you eternal life in heaven, then because I love you, and if you have a seizure, I'm going to call 911. That's an expression of my love for you. So I'm going to seek to communicate to you. Jesus offers you eternal life. Why don't you check him out?
So why is that the thing that's pushing you to help people?
Love. Because I am convinced that God created us to love each other.
But that's a secondary source that's forcing your actions. That's not just you loving me because I'm alive right here.
I love you because God created us for the purpose of loving each other. That's why I love you. So I don't care if you're my enemy, I'm going to love you. If you're my enemy, if you try and hurt me, I'm still going to try and love you. Why? because I'm convinced that God created us to love each other. And if God created us to love each other, then that means regardless of how difficult it is to love each other, we're still going to try and love each other if we're followers of Christ.
I see. I recognize like that's your truth. But if I do the same thing to someone, if you're having a seizure and I choose to help you,
Yes?
why am I wrong? Because my like the thing that made me do that isn't what Jesus wants. Why is it wrong for me to just be loving because I feel like based on my past experiences in this life, that's what I want to do to be a good person? Why does it have to be because this is what Jesus wants? Because this is what Jesus says. Why
Every
can't it
time
just
that
be?
you love, that is good.
Exactly.
Regardless of what you believe, every time you love.
So
But
why is
speaking
that-
for myself, I can't speak for you, but speaking for myself, I have not always loved. I am a sinner.
Me neither.
Okay, I have violated God's purpose in creating me, which is to love God and to love people. Therefore, I need God's forgiveness. I also need His help to love my enemy. Because to be very honest with you, too frequently, not all the time, but too frequently, I want to cut my enemy off at the knees. And that's wrong of me. All right? So that's why I need to ask God for forgiveness and for the power to change so that I can love even my enemy.
Yeah. Well, the fact, I'm not saying that you're weak for needing that extra help or anything, but I think that's why faith and like religion is so easy to follow for humans that have no idea why we're here. We're all clueless at the end of the day. We don't really know what's going to happen right when we die, and we can all say that, or else we're naive. And I think
What is love and who defines it?
And I think that religion makes it easy because it hands truth to us.
What is
We
love?
don't have the
You've
courage
talked a lot
to
about
go
love.
out and find truth
What is
on our
love
own.
and who
We need
defines
someone
love?
to hand it to us through a Bible.
What is love and who defines it? Because I know a lot of guys who have a very definite definition of what it means to love you. You're a very beautiful woman, and I can promise you, I got a lot of guys who can tell me very clearly what it means to love you, and it ain't pretty. Okay? So who defines love? If it's just a personal thing, you've got your personal trip, I can promise you I got a lot of guy friends who got their definition of what it means to love you, a beautiful woman, and it ain't pretty. So what makes your definition of love more correct than their definition of love?
Well, it's not the definition of love. It's the moral compass that someone builds up as they have more past experiences.
And why is your moral compass more correct than their moral
I'm not
compass?
saying it is. We're saying
Oh, come
everyone
on,
has
you
a
know
different
very
truth.
well that if some guy says to love means to use you sexually, they are wrong. That's evil.
They're
Don't you believe
unethical.
that? Don't you believe that?
They're unethical. They're not
Okay, so who
evil.
defines ethics? Who defines goodness and who defines love?
Well, that's a whole philosophical question. That
It's
has
a very
nothing to
practical
do
question,
with
ma'am.
Then
It's
what
an
is-
incredibly practical
What is your
question.
answer besides God to that?
Yeah, what's your
Because
answer
many
besides
philosophers
this is what
do not have the
Jesus
answer as
said?
God.
It's so easy for you to stand here because you can say, Jesus
Everything
told me
is
this.
linked to
Jesus
Jesus.
said this. It's so easy to
Never
have
once have I
something
done that to you, but it's amazing the way you parrot that. You're attacking a straw man, man. Now, why don't you listen to me as I try to listen to you and respond to me, not respond to a straw man. I never said, just do something because Jesus says it. It's not my argument. My argument is your experience of love as a real value. Your firm conviction that those guys who define love as being to sexually use you, they are wrong. Really wrong. Why? Because there is such a thing as real love that they are violating. Now you've got to ask yourself, real love? Who defines real love? And if there is no God, there's no objective love.
I'm not saying there's no God.
Okay, fine, but just listen. If there is no God,
We're not saying there's no God.
No, my argument is the fact that we're not saying that there's not a God. We're just saying that it doesn't always have to be Jesus, like in the form of like Christianity.
okay, fine. So who is God?
I mean, like I'm a Hindu,
No one,
so I have
like-
different beliefs.
Who is God for you?
I mean, like we have multiple that take the same form. We have multiple gods. It's not
Okay, so if I say God is the lamppost, is that true?
No, that's just disrespectful.
What do you mean disrespectful? If I believe that the lamppost is part of God, don't tell me that's disrespectful. That's what I believe.
No, I thought you were talking about Hinduism being like the
No, I didn't say that. If I, Cliff, believe the lamppost is God,
That's
do you
up
have
to you.
do you have a problem with that?
No,
Do you
that's
disagree? Do Do you agree with me that lamppost is God?
I respect your belief that God is a lamppost, but that's not my belief.
Okay. Then if you believe that God is not the lamppost, would you try and help me see that the lamppost is not God? Or would you just say, go ahead, Cliff, believe the lamppost is God?
I mean, that's what religion is today. Like, you believe in Christianity. I'm not going to come and try to be like, oh, like, you need to believe Hinduism.
Well, what are you doing out here talking to me?
Why are you here then?
Why are you here?
I just wanted to see what you were talking about. We go to
Yeah, and then,
school here.
good, and you started talking.
Yeah,
But let's be real honest. You disagree with me.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's fine.
I thought you knew that
But
from
let's
the
not
start.
try and act like you don't disagree with me, because you know very well.
I mean, everyone knows I'm here because I don't agree with you.
Exactly. And I respect that. That's fine. But let's not start getting on your high horse telling me that because I believe Jesus is the truth, oh, that's some type of narrow-minded, bigoted view.
It's because
You have your truth,
I'm just
and I have my truth, and I'm trying to dialogue with you. What's the evidence that your truth is right?
Okay, I think both of us, it's safe to say that we're curious why people are always here preaching.
I don't know why other people come out here and preach. I know why I do. I don't know why.
Same reason for all of y'all.
Yeah,
No, it's not. Don't generalize like that. That's just as bigoted as if I were to say to you, you both are motivated by the same thing. I don't know you ladies. I've got to respect you as an individual and not just say all preachers, all UT students. That's wrong. I am here because I love you. Thank you for asking that question. I'm here because I love you, and I have found that Jesus Christ is totally reliable, which means
For
if you
you. For you.
No, let him finish.
thank you.
Go ahead.
Because the evidence of the way Jesus lived, taught, died, and rose from the dead points to his trustworthiness, I'm concerned that you not trust someone who's going to ditch you, who's going to fail you. Jesus Christ was dead. He rose from the dead. Therefore, I'm convinced he can help you with the fact that you're going to die. He can help you in a way that nobody else can, that I've ever been exposed to. So therefore, because I love you, and I use the illustration, if she had a seizure, I would try and call 911. So I'm convinced that you and I both have dates with death. Therefore, if Jesus Christ is able to give us eternal life, and if I claim to love you, I'm going to tell you. The same way if you get cancer, man, and I know a doctor who can cure your cancer, I don't love you if I don't tell you about that doctor.
Okay, but like if everyone is walking around like I have a different faith, do you believe that just because we don't follow Christianity that we're all just like on a different path, like we're not going to heaven?
Yeah. Are we sinners? Are we in here sinners because we don't believe?
Like we have
No, we're all sinners, beginning with me, because we rebel against God, because we don't love God and love others the way he created us to. So I'm a sinner. I'm number one sinner out here, okay?
But separate from that, like what? So if someone is not a Christian, what is their path in life, like after they die?
All right, why don't you answer that, Stuart?
Wait, what was the last one?
No, it's just that if someone is like not a Christian, like what do you think happens like after they die?
After they die, if they're not a Christian?
Yeah, because he was talking about like eternal life, like heaven, like everything.
Right.
What do you guys?
I'll answer that from a Christian perspective, then you can answer it from a Hindu
Yeah, I'm
perspective.
just curious.
Yeah, so from a Christian perspective, it's all about giving up yourself and worshiping God, because we all worship in some kind of way, some kind of thing, right? I mean, the best fiction writer probably in the last 100 years, who wrote Infinite Jest, gave a Kenyan college address where he said, we all worship something. If it's something on this earth, it will eat you alive. Whether it's relationships, money, you name it. So we believe in Jesus Christ. We believe in God outside of us. By accepting God, we empty ourselves, grow a trusting relationship with Christ, and that is how you have eternal life with him. But that does not mean somebody over in India who's never heard the name of Jesus Christ is going to hell. Because
No, yeah, I get that.
you get that, okay.
Yeah.
So from a Hindu perspective, see, I think you should be out here, maybe not with the same kind of voice as him, because you guys are slightly hardwired differently, but I do think sometimes you should maybe be on this corner.
That makes a great point. Thank you for talking out here. I appreciate it a lot, okay?
But I do think, because I have some Hindu friends, and I've been to their homes, and I've had conversations with two different women who said to me, we're in different caste systems, and so one is slightly more valuable than the other, and it was a very awkward conversation. But I think for you to love me would be to come out here and say, hey, Stuart, you have a slightly bad sense of karma because you've been living a certain way. I want to help you, not come back as a cockroach. So I'm going to help you and communicate what a good type of lifestyle is according to the Hindu faith, rather than just saying, don't push your faith on somebody because that's considered proselytizing.
Yeah.
Well, by claiming not to push your faith on somebody, that's also a form of proselytizing. Maybe it's a form of quieter proselytizing, but see, this sweet woman right here, I am very impressed by her, and yet the same thing that she was doing, she was basically calling him intolerant for the way he was communicating an exclusive truth. She was communicating an even more intolerant exclusive truth because she was saying she had this kind of 30,000 view of all religions and that they are either the same or that they should not be communicating their truth in a certain way, when 87% of the world is making exclusive truth claims about their own religions. So what's more exclusive and intolerant?
My thing is like, okay, so you guys are like out here like preaching, like spreading the word. Like I get the.
Hopefully not preaching too much.
Okay, no, but the.
I want to be PC.
Okay, but like spreading the word. Okay, we'll say that. But the thing is, like, Hinduism is a very accepting religion. Like obviously, like you have to be born into Hinduism, but you can still practice it as a religion. Like okay, I'm speaking from my experience, like how I grew up. Nobody like goes around like.
I agree, but it wasn't
like no one spreads the word like that. Like if someone is interested and want to come, like the arms are always open, but no one avidly goes out and like spends their time like doing this.
Why not?
No, but I'm asking like why
Help
do
me.
you guys?
Why aren't you doing that though? If my karma is bad and I'm headed towards being a cockroach or something worse than a cockroach, why wouldn't you come and talk to me?
But the thing
Help
is,
me
like,
out of it.
but
Help me out of my ignorance.
I just don't agree.
I've had Hindus come up to me and offer different paths than the ones that I'm communicating.
Yeah, that's fine, but like, I just don't.
So you disagree with the style of communication?
That's my issue.
Okay, but again,
But, like,
the atheist department at numerous Ivy Leagues, especially Dartmouth right now, has put out different articles in their papers saying if you are a Christian or another faith that claims some type of eternal existence through their path, you have the moral obligation to be doing this right now. That was the Atheist Society at Dartmouth University.
I mean, that's their issue.
They're being honest. They're saying this is your worldview. If you truly believe that people are either going to be in heaven or hell and not some vague existence in between, then you better be preaching or at least communicating in some kind of way this type of truth. Now, my last piece, well, no, I'm not going to go there. All right.
No, what is it?
It was a question on Hinduism.
Good, ask her.
Sure, I might know.
Well, this is a little bit tougher, a little more direct. So, as also a therapist, I'm also a mental health therapist, I'll go to the bedside of a person dying. And when I am there, oftentimes I'm thinking about worldviews. Typically, it's my own worldview, it's my own faith, right?
Obviously, yeah.
And I'm thinking about a suffering God, Jesus Christ, who is with us in our suffering. He's the only suffering God that I know of. Then I am thinking about something like atheism. If I am an atheist going to the bedside of my dying mother or close friend, see you later. Sorry, you're falling through a trapdoor into just timeless, spaceless eternity. Take care. Depressing versus an eternal existence, falling through a trapdoor into the loving arms of a God, a personal God, is radically different. Now, my Hindu friends, though, I also believe have a little bit of a problem when it comes to an understanding of suffering. Because it's the one-to-one correlation of if my mom drives and gets into a car accident today and dies, there's a one-to-one correlation of her doing something wrong that caused her suffering and death. That's radically different from the Christian faith, which is not just the suffering God, but it's also, there is death, there is confusion, there is all kinds of pain and suffering that typically has nothing to do with your bad deeds or bad karma.
Okay, yeah. Ours is based on karma.
Right. But do you see how that's problematic? Like, that does not fit my experience. When I'm dealing with death and dying folks, to go to them and say, sorry, you have cancer because you did something wrong, whether it was last week, yesterday, or the day before.
No, but the thing is, like, it's not that minuscule. It's like what you've done throughout your life. So you know how, like, you guys are like, okay, I'm a sinner, like, I've sinned. It's not like, oh, like, I tripped someone yesterday, so now I'm going to go die in a car crash. It's like the accumulation of all the bad deeds that you've done.
Okay.
So that can lead up to, like, one moment, like, okay, okay, you died in a car crash, whatever. But obviously when that person is dying, you're not going to be like, oh, like, you caused, like, in a way, like you cause your own, because everyone has to die, okay? That is like, it's obviously the end game. But it's not like, it's like everyone has to die, but when you're on your deathbed, no one's gonna be like, oh, like you caused your own death. This is why, like it happens for a reason. Like everything happens for a reason. That is the underlying belief in Hinduism.
Oh yeah,
And I can get on board with that.
Yeah.
But I can't get on board with your bad deeds are just accumulated, so you're going to die a worse kind of death than the person over here, like this sweet little lady who was saying that she's just living for goodness. So she's not going to suffer, as opposed to the person perhaps who grew up an addict because maybe their parents were addicts, and so they had a type of bad deeds when it came to their alcoholism. So somehow they're going to suffer worse because they're worse people, and let's ostracize them. Versus this sweet lady who's supposedly living for greatness.
I mean, not necessarily, because you say that like your parents are addicts, so you're an addict, and like you're like doing drugs, everything. That can be understandable because of the origin that you come from, like your parents. But the thing that's going to cause your karma is the actions you take being that person. It's not necessarily what you start from. Do you know what I mean? Like every person is responsible for their own actions. Just because like you may have a tougher background, like that's obviously taken into consideration. Like I don't know about that. But what I grew up knowing is that it's your personal actions that cause like your like course for the rest of your life. Like obviously if you do something good, like something good will happen to you, or like you're making your own life better. But if you do something bad, then that's gonna catch up to you.
Right. Okay, and I can probably get on board with that.
Yeah,
Sure. Sin follows us in many ways.
Yeah, so it's not from like just because it's not like you're written a bad fate. You know what I mean? Like you can always turn it around. Does that make sense?
Right. And yet, at the same time, there is a big difference between grace and forgiveness in the Christian faith versus in the Hindu faith. You still are determined by your bad deeds. It's a type of determinism.
I mean, yeah,
Whether it's accumulation of me when I was in high school and I was living a very partying type lifestyle versus perhaps more so now, I don't know, maybe I am better ethically.
I mean, that's true, like, but in a sense, like, it's also, like, just like you guys repent, like, you can go to the temple, like, you can pray, like, there are certain religious rituals that you can do that better your karma, but don't erase it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's not like, just because you do this, it's in your, like, permanent record forever, like, it's etched forever, so now you're gonna die. Like, it's not like that.
Okay, let's go to the caste system now. Why did I have that very awkward encounter with those two women, who one was higher up than the other? The Christian faith we were talking about out here yesterday, which is everybody, it doesn't matter if you have a lower level of awareness or cognitive abilities, which I'm probably lower than you, and or you're born with special needs, whatever the issue might be, we are all created in the image of God, absolutely equal. We do not have to somehow prove our self-worth, prove and get my value by any kind of means necessary. Instead, no matter what, our value doesn't change because of what Jesus did for us on the cross. In my understanding in Hinduism, that's not the case.
Yeah.
You are born into a type of caste system where you are better than somebody else who was born into a different caste system.
Yeah, well, like, to be honest, like, I don't believe in the caste system, so, like, I agree.
Okay. In the Christian faith, your bad deeds can follow you if you just keep living in sin, making poor decisions, but you're never too late to turn and accept Christ, just like the thief on the cross, and Christ turns to him and says, today you will be with me in paradise, because it's based off of grace versus I got to do all of this white knuckle it on my own and somehow I'll get